Hey friends, it's Beth here with Aging Care Solutions, offering professional guidance and personal caregiving and family experience, as well as a lot of life under my belt. And if this topic brought you in, I'm guessing maybe you feel the same way that I do. My life story is about music and how that music really impacted me. And when I started thinking about this topic and how um, a lot of people that I've worked with over the years use music therapy. But when I start to think about the amazing music that I was had been exposed to from the time I was like 10 years old until my later teens, the music was amazing in the 1970s. I mean, I think the 60s, everybody thinks back to like the Beatles and some of these other huge invasions of British bands. But for me, like the memories that I have are of so many great. There's so much good music in the 70s that it's hard to even. I mean, when I think of the name of some of these groups, like the Commodores, the Spinners, the Temptations, Boston. I loved Boston. My brother had an album. I played that album till well, it still worked. But the Steve Miller Band, that was another one that he had. Journey, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Creedence Clearwater Revival. I mean, when I think about all these bands, oh, Bad Company, I forgot about Bad Company. I loved them. I was never big on like Alice Cooper. I had a friend that loved Rush, but I was never into that. Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Allman Brothers bands, yes, the Bee Gees, all these tremendous bands. And I think I can tell you when I hear a song, I can almost remember how old I was, who my friend group was. And as we got older, like into to our high school years, have total recall of going to concerts. Like the big one for us was one of my best concerts, and like is etched in my brain is Bob Seger. Yeah, it was totally. It was such a. It just changed a lot in me, like the connections that I had back then, and how music was so. It still is a powerful thing, right? Um, and I just even the music that I listen to today, I probably have the most eclectic style. Like I love different kind of country artists like Chris Stapleton and some of the other newer artists, but I really love like my old R&B music that I knew in the 80s that I loved. So it's just really kind of all over the place. But the one thing that's irrefutable about music is it brings me such happiness. I love to hear music. I like music I can dance to, that I can sing to. I love music just to have like a soothing background sound. Um, but I just love it. I love being in the car and cranking up that music. And this is how I know that it's good for our brain is because of how you feel when you listen to music. I mean, when you think about like singing to your favorite song, it really, and there's evidence based intervention about the significance of what music can do, especially when people are recovering from either stroke or traumatic brain injury or they're living with memory impairment. Sorry, I keep getting phone calls. And here's why music is really special. I think it's not only does it engage the whole brain, it's unlike any other activity listening to music because it stimulates different areas of our brain at the same time, right? I mean, how many other things do that? Like it evokes emotion, which is our limbic system, memory, which is our hippocampus, movement and coordination, which is our motor cortex, and then, of course, our speech language areas of our brain are affected by music. And it's especially helpful for rewiring and and actively alternating between these different neural pathways. And it's really fascinating. And the research that I've been doing on this, because they used to use music therapy where my mother lived, right? So she had dementia, and that was something that on the regular they had live music. So they would find different practitioners that would come in, or talent, if you will. Sometimes they had more than one person. It might be like a duet, or it might be even a three-piece group, and they would play upstairs in the assisted section. But then they always came into the neighborhood where my mother resided in her latter years at this assisted living because it had to be a secured neighborhood. But they loved it. People loved music. They loved clapping along, singing the words. it was always fascinating to see that they'd be playing music from like the 50s and people would remember the music. They'd remember the words. And here they were, they had short-term memory loss, but they could go back and hearken back to those words. And it lowers their stress hormones. It helps with us with anxiety and depression. And it increases dopamine and serotonin in our brains. I mean, it's such a mood booster when you think about it, reducing symptoms of depression. I mean, it just tells me that every day we should be listening to music. I'm guilty of not listening to enough of it, but I certainly try almost every day to hear music because sometimes I play it first thing in the morning and it kind of gets me in this like upbeat mood and I sort of love it. So, and sometimes we'll do board games with my kids and we'll listen to like smooth jazz or we'll listen to just different music. It's kind of fun. The kids have a different taste in music as well. But it promotes our emotional expression. It helps people process their emotions. It can help them verbalize, especially if they're going through like a traumatic recovery. But music also, it increases our social connections. I mean, I took my daughter to a concert. It was a K-pop concert, which is like these Korean bands that travel all over the world. It was my first time ever going to one of these. I was blown away. I could not believe the participation of the audience. Before we even got there, she bought something called a concert light, and it synced up through Bluetooth to the music that was playing, and it would flash different colors. And if you looked out, the entire audience had these it looked like a flashlight to me, but it was a music light. It was a concert light that you bring with you, and it syncs up. Oh my God, I was blown away. Anyway, everybody knew every word. Of course, I didn't, but I was just like, wow, this is incredible. But it did, like, it harkens back to even when our younger years, when we remember these songs, where they take us back to. And typically they're to our happiest times of our lives, right? Our young friends or our older friends or couples, or maybe we have a special song from our wedding or maybe a song that reminds us of our past love. So there's just so much about it that to me can be really special. And music therapy and memory loss go hand in hand. I mean, really, it taps into these long-term memories that people have. And making it special for the years that people are going to live with memory impairment. Although the short-term memory is impacted and starts fading, many people with dementia can recall lyrics and melodies. And it offers some clarity and connection in that moment. And I loved that. And I'm so happy that my mom loved music too. But it does improve our mood, and it can help really with caregivers. It can help support singing and listening together can not only bring you emotional balance and just a calm sense of clarity, but also who you're caring for, right? If you can't reach them by your own words or they're not understanding you, reaching them with music sounds like a really beautiful place to be together. Just sitting, maybe if you're home together and you're taking care of your loved one that has memory impairment or a traumatic brain injury or a stroke, using music could be a beautiful way to connect. The other thing is stroke recovery. Excuse me. But that speech and language therapists are using this because it can help with people with aphasia, which is loss of language. Relearning how to speak after having, part of your brain damaged. And, I'm familiar with stroke. My dad died of a stroke. He did not live much past 3 or 4 days after he had it. But I've seen many, many people, many families recover and get back to, a really balanced part of their life and incorporating music into their other things like the work that they're doing with their therapy teams, like their physical therapy, their speech language therapists, their occupational therapist. They're saying that rhythmic music improves our coordination and physical movement, and through a technique called rhythmic auditory stimulation. Like it's a way to usefully regain your ability to walk or use your limbs. I mean, if that's not like magic when you think about it, wow, the thought that music, something that someone has loved and heard their whole life, could actually help them recover from something as bad as a stroke or a traumatic brain injury, it's incredible. But it does boost our mood and it motivates us. A lot of people use music when they're exercising. So if during your therapy session, you want to use your smartphone or ask your therapy team, hey, can we incorporate music while I'm learning to rewalk or while I'm learning to do the steps again or using my assisted device, 100% they would let you. Or they may even let you wear, um, like a small thing of earbuds or these ones that you can hang around that are like little teeny speakers. You can order them right off Amazon. The other is traumatic brain injury. A lot of cognitive rehabilitation uses music to improve attention, memory, problem solving skills through structured exercises. And music also kind of reduces isolation and any feelings of anxiety that you might have. And imagine if you've had a traumatic brain injury from a terrible accident, that you're going to be experiencing a lot of emotional struggles. Depression can just overtake. A lot of people are very highly emotional. I mean, I even saw it with patients who are recovering from cardiac incident, like a heart attack, definitely a stroke, where, your emotions are, especially for men, just the crying, it's an involuntary response to the vulnerability that the system feels. And it's also the healing of the brain. But reducing those anxieties and that recovery with music every day, I'm going to encourage you to do it. Even if you're doing your exercises at home, just incorporate it. You could put it on through your TV, have it in the kitchen throughout the day. If you like to sit outside, sometimes I'm playing music when I'm on the trail when I'm walking in the morning, and it's so weird. But I feel like the birds, they love to hear it. And sometimes if I see deer when I'm out there walking, I'll hold up and their ears perk up. It's so crazy to think that animals can really benefit from music too. But I think, dogs, some people leave their TV on for their dog, or they'll play music while they're gone. But music for traumatic brain injury promotes neuroplasticity, which, this is therapy to open new pathways in the brain as it's recovering, and healing during injuries, or after an injury. So anyway, what I love about music is that it's always, well, depending on what kind of music you're listening to. I don't know, we used to listen to some hard rock back in the day. Now I don't even imagine that my body could really sustain it. I just love something that makes my heart feel better, right? So it's non-invasive. It's something that you could share with different people of all ages and different conditions. It's sort of motivating and enjoyable to listen to. So I encourage you to incorporate music, especially if you're caring for someone with memory loss, recovering from a stroke or a traumatic brain injury, because it doesn't have to be formal therapy that you're going to. If you're simply listening to your favorite songs throughout the day, it can be both healing and deeply healing for someone's heart, especially someone that's going through the process of healing. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I would love to hear about some of the music that you are listening to. If you want to leave a little message or a comment, feel free to subscribe or share. Especially if you're seeing this and you've got a loved one that you think could benefit, that's either living alone or caring for a loved one, a family member, like if your parent is caring for someone, feel free to share. All right? I'll see you in the next video. Take care.